The judge says, "The evidence the court has seen against Diddy is massive." He references the video of Diddy beating Cassie Ventura in a hotel hallway and photos of gashes and bruises. He says a significant sentence is required in order to be a deterrence and to send a message. In July, Sean Diddy Combs stood trial on federal criminal charges. He was convicted of 2 counts of transportation for the purpose of prostitution, a crime that can carry a maximum sentence of 10 years per count. On Friday, October 3, 2025, the judge handed down his sentence. Diddy has spent just over a year in jail after Judge Aaron Subramanian denied him bail. Diddy was always so animated in court. He'd skin the public with a smile and blowing kisses and waves to his family. He was always passing notes to his lawyers in the middle of witness testimony. His behavior has got him in trouble with the judge, who found his expressions and tendency to nod at jurors unacceptable. He will address the court before his sentence is handed down. In a letter, he told the judge his downfall was rooted in his selfishness and that he had been humble and broken to his core. His lawyers have acknowledged that his legacy and reputation have been destroyed. But watching Diddy, you get the sense that he thinks he still has the power to rehabilitate his image. Diddy was one of the most successful rappers and music moguls in the U.S. He's had many aliases, going by Puffy, Puff Daddy, P. Diddy, Love, and Brother Love. He launched the careers of Notorious B.I.G. and Mary J. Blige in the 1990s and won a Grammy nomination for a solo album in 2023. He has a label called Bad Boy Records. Over the years, it's expanded to include Faith Evans, Maze, 112, Mariah Carey, and Jennifer Lopez. Aside from music, Diddy has had several brand deals, the largest being Diageo to promote the French vodka brand, Ciroc. In 2023, he released his 5th album, The Love Album, Off the Grid, which earned him his first solo nomination at the Grammys. Spectators, journalists, and influencers were lining up outside the courthouse with everyone anxious to hear the sentencing and wondering how long he'll serve in prison. Diddy wrote a letter to the judge blaming his past behavior on drug addiction. He apologized for all of the hurt and pain that he's caused and says that he has been reformed. After spending 13 months in jail, he apologizes for assaulting his ex-girlfriend, singer Cassie Ventura, writing, "I literally lost my mind. I'm sorry for that and always will be." He continues, "My domestic violence will always be a heavy burden that I will have to forever carry." He also apologized to an anonymous woman who testified during the trial under the name Jane. It said he became lost in the drugs. "I lost my way." He wrote, "My downfall was rooted in my selfishness. I have been humbled and broken to my core." In July, he was found guilty of 2 prostitution charges and could serve up to 20 years in prison. Prosecutors are seeking a sentence of at least 11 years. But Diddy's lawyers are asking that he be released later this month. Diddy has been locked up in the Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn, New York. His lawyers were unsuccessful in attempts to have him released on bail after arguing the conditions inside are horrific. Diddy has reportedly shared a cell with cryptocurrency entrepreneur Sam Bankman-Fried, who once ran a company worth billions and was convicted on multiple counts of fraud, and previously has been home to rapper R. Kelly and Jeffrey Epstein's associate Ghislaine Maxwell. Some of Diddy's victims submitted letters to the court. Singer Cassie Ventura, the rapper's ex-girlfriend and a key witness for the government, wrote a letter which outlined her fears and concerns. "I am so scared that if he walks free, his first actions will be swift retribution towards me and others who spoke up," Ventura wrote, adding that she moved her family out of the New York area and is trying to stay as private as possible. She reiterated her allegations that Diddy abused her physically and sexually, forcing her to participate in days-long, drug-fueled sex parties. She said the jury failed to see all of the truths at hand, and that she hoped the judge would consider her fear and suffering when handing down a sentence. She continues to plead, saying, "If there is one thing I have learned from this experience, it is that victims and survivors will never be safe," she said. Cassie Ventura and Jane Doe were both victims, the judge said. He added that Diddy has threats to release videos of Cassie participating in freak-offs and to not pay housing costs for Jane if she did not go along with hotel nights qualified as coercion. Diddy is not the same Diddy that most people are familiar with. His hair was grayed, and the judge had granted Diddy S motion to receive non-prison clothing to wear to the sentencing. He is permitted to have 1 button-down shirt, 1 pair of pants, 1 sweater, and one pair of shoes without laces to wear to court. Diddy was wearing a white sweater, black pants, and glasses at his sentencing. He has a noticeable gray beard. His 5 adult children and his mother are also present for sentencing, and Diddy waved and blew kisses to them before taking his seat. The judge who will decide the sentence is Judge Aaron Subramanian. He has been on the bench for only 2 years and was nominated by former President Joe Biden and confirmed in a 59-23 U.S. Senate vote. He was recommended to Biden by New York Senator Chuck Schumer, who said in his Senate hearing introduction that our courts need more people like Aaron Subramanian. This is Subramanian's first high-profile celebrity case before his nomination in 2022. He had a private law practice and he's defended victims of trafficking and child pornography. Victim number 4, an anonymous witness who testified under the name Mia, has decided not to speak today. Prosecutors said her decision was in part due to a letter submitted by the defense, which can be described as no less than bullying. Prosecutors said the judge agreed, calling the tone of the letter inappropriate and telling the defense not to repeat it. Maureen Comey was not in attendance for court during the sentencing. The Department of Justice fired Comey, a federal prosecutor and the daughter of former FBI Director James Comey, in July, not long after Diddy's trial concluded. Comey has been involved in several high-profile legal battles in New York, including the cases against sex offender Jeffrey Epstein and his accomplice Ghislaine Maxwell. It's not clear why the DOJ fired Comey. President Trump has a long-standing political beef with her father and pushed to have him charged with 2 felonies last month for allegedly lying to Congress during a 2020 hearing. Comey filed a lawsuit last month arguing that her dismissal was unconstitutional and without cause or notice. She is seeking her job back. Her team was unable to get Diddy convicted on the 3 most serious charges, but succeeded in getting a guilty verdict for the 2 lesser charges of transportation to engage in prostitution. Prosecutor Kristi Slavic is speaking on behalf of the government. She states today is about accountability and justice. She says the defense has tried to paint Diddy's conviction as just a side effect of a sex, drugs, and rock and roll lifestyle, but it's more than that. She goes on, this isn't just a case about sex, she says. It's a case about real victims who suffered real harm at the hands of the defendant. Slavic reiterates that the government recommends a sentence of 135 months, just over 11 years, saying it adequately addresses the separate harms to Casa Ventura and Jane, who testified under a pseudonym. The defendant admitted to violence, she says, and urges the judge to consider that this case is about more than just so-called freak-offs. The defense was requesting 14 months. Diddy has already served a little over 12 months in jail, which would be subtracted from whatever his sentence is. The prosecutors want an 11-year minimum sentence, which they argue is appropriate for the severity of his actions, which would mean Diddy would be in prison until he's at least 65 years old. A lighter sentence would let the defendant get away with years of domestic violence and abuse. Kristi Slavic says, citing victim statements and testimony from Cassie and Jane Doe, who said that they experienced domestic violence during their relationship with Diddy. She reminds the judge of photos the court saw of the 2 women's injuries they say Diddy inflicted. Diddy began to cry when a video played for the court that the defense had submitted on his behalf included several video clips of Diddy with his kids. He reportedly broke down when the video showed the funeral of his former girlfriend and the mother of many of his children, Kim Porter. The judge seemed sensitive to the pleas of Diddy's children, who begged him for a lighter sentence, calling their father a superhero and a changed man. Diddy's lawyer Brian Steele recapped Diddy's life, saying the reason he's in this situation today is because of untreated trauma and a ferocious drug addiction. He says he was harmed by early life experiences, including the death of his father. Steele says Diddy did hit Cassie Ventura, the woman he loved. He says it was just on occasion, not every day, and claims Diddy remembers every strike in his mind and he bangs his head against a wall. Steele says he has punished himself more than anyone will be able to punish him. Steele says Diddy has lost his businesses, his reputation, and his money. Okay, wait, hold up just a sec. Wow, so let me get this straight. If it's not every day, then it's all right to hit your girl. Oh my God, really? His kids are now cursed with his name, Steele says Diddy told him. He continues claiming Diddy is completely broken. Steele says he suggested that Diddy can use his experience in prison to educate others about the dangers of breaking the law. The defense has asserted several times that Diddy was not a pimp because he did not make money prostituting women. Rather, they want him to be seen as a John, a consumer of prostitution. Johns have no profit motive and typically receive lighter sentences. One of Diddy's lawyers, Mark Agnafilio, returns to arguments we've heard throughout the day, painting Diddy's issues as the result of a mental health problem and from drug use. He also repeats the argument that Diddy has already suffered enough through the storm of publicity, serving jail time, his home being raided, loss of privacy, and his business losses. He urges the judge to, as he says, not give Diddy a light sentence, but a sentence that gets to the root of the problem. He recommends that the sentence include mental health treatment, a domestic violence program, and a drug program where Diddy is routinely tested. Diddy addresses the judge deciding on the sentence. Diddy did not testify during his trial and only spoke briefly to the judge at the very end, thanking him. Diddy started by thanking the judge for giving him the chance to finally speak up for himself. He apologized to all the victims of domestic violence. I want to personally apologize again to Cassie Ventura. He also apologized to Jane Doe, who testified in the trial under a pseudonym. I didn't mean to hurt you, he says. I'm sorry for dragging you into this mess. My actions were disgusting, shameful, and sick, he says. Then facing his children, he continues, I want to apologize to my 7 children. I'm so sorry. They deserve better. He turned to his mother Janice and says sorry to her as well. Now, he says he is taking responsibility for his actions. I got lost in excess. I got lost in my ego. He tells the judge. He turns again to address the judge directly, saying, I ask your honor for mercy. I beg your honor for mercy. I don't have nobody to blame but myself, he says. I know that I've learned my lesson. He tells the judge that if he gives him another chance, he won't let him down. He ends by saying he would never jeopardize being in this situation again or being away from his family again. That's my deterrence, he says. Prosecutors have said he is not remorseful, and Diddy refutes that claim. The judge said the evidence the court has seen against Diddy is massive. He references the video of Diddy beating Cassie Ventura in a hotel hallway, and photos of gashes and bruises. He says a significant sentence is required in order to be a deterrence and to send a message. Judge Aaron Subramanian has sentenced Sean Diddy to 50 months in prison. That's for years and 2 months. He says this sentence is fair to account for the severity of Diddy's crimes and the mitigating factors. Diddy was convicted for 2 counts of transportation to engage in prostitution. He said Diddy's actions were more than that of a simple consumer of prostitution, like the defense had claimed. You were no John, he said, using a phrase that refers to a client of a sex worker. You were more than that. The coerced commercial sex acts brought Diddy sexual gratification instead of money, he said, but that did decrease the severity of his actions. The judge also said he was not convinced Diddy would not repeat his crimes if he was released. He continues, this sentence is meant to send a signal to the public, Judge Subramanian said. It is a message to abusers and victims alike. When victims come forward about crimes of abuse, they should trust that sharing their stories can lead to concrete actions, he said. And for abusers, it should serve as a deterrent. On top of his prison sentence, he also orders that Diddy pays a $500,000 fine. Diddy sat in his chair looking down as the judge sentenced him to more than 4 years in prison. Diddy was quiet and non-reactive for much of the judge's speech. The judge tells Diddy he used his power to subjugate and abuse to women. This is the reality of what happened, the judge said. After court was adjourned, Diddy turned around to look at his family and appeared to mouth the words, I love you, I'm sorry. 2 months ago during his trial, Diddy told his family after the initial verdict that he was coming home. The judge read statements from the victims about how he had hurt them, as well as quotes from Diddy's family saying what they loved about him. Judge Subramanian praised Cassie Ventura and the other victim, known as Jane Doe, as strong women who were willing to come forward and tell their stories. He said they have been through abuse most of us can't imagine. We heard you, he told them. I am proud of you for coming to the court to tell what really happened. He told Diddy that just as he had the power to hurt these women, he had the power to help them and other victims of abuse by using his megaphone and taking accountability. The judge also addressed Diddy directly and, by extension, his family. I know you feel you are in a dark place right now, he said, but the crimes committed were serious. You and your family. You are going to get through this. There is a light at the end of the tunnel. According to former federal prosecutor Nima Rahmani, Diddy will now be moved to a federal facility, and apparently Diddy has to be isolated from the general population for his safety, because he is a celebrity inmate, so that may limit the facilities he can be housed in. Diddy will receive credit for the time he's already served in jail. Diddy's legal team will be appealing the 50-month prison sentence, citing strong critique for the judge presiding over the case. If you enjoyed this video, please throw me a thumb, and if you want to see more videos like this one, please consider subscribing. As always, I hope to see y'all in the next one.